This hourly segment is sponsored by Garden Sense, airing Sundays 12 noon to 1 p.m. Now, Jake Hartford on 890 AM.
Richard J. Daley was the mayor of our town till that cold day in December when they laid him in the ground. Daley's gone, one more round, Daley's gone.
6:07, 7 past 6.
And he...
Hour number 2 of Awake with Jake is going. This is Steve Goodman, the late Steve Goodman, talking about the original Mayor Richard J. Daley. The mayor is my cloud I shall not want. We are talking about 9/11. Everybody remembers where they were. In my case, it was kind of a strange thing. I had been filling in for Don and Roma the couple weeks before, and the Thursday before that, went out with the wife to California, and the deal was we spent the Thursday night in Malibu, and then we went to Vegas for Friday and Saturday night, and I got to tell you, I wasn't getting by much sleep for 2 weeks, and it just finally caught up to me in Vegas. We went to see Dom Herrera. And John Panetz, a friend of ours, got his tickets right in the front. And I remember waking up and him just like staring at me like everybody's laughing and who's this idiot sleeping in the front. It's very embarrassing. So then we went back to L.A. on Sunday, and our original plan was to come back on Tuesday. But the wife missed the kids because they were 8 and 11 at the time. So instead of coming back, our original plan on Tuesday, we came back Monday, got in Monday night. And then Tuesday morning, turned on the radio, Don and Roma, like around right before 8 o'clock, and they said there was this plane crash into the tower in New York, and I was thinking commuter plane, and during the news I remember Steve Scott, they had this live guy on from New York, and as they were talking about the first plane that crashed, the second plane crashed while this guy was on the air. And from there on, it was just... glued to what was going on. And looking back at it, if we had stayed with the original plan, we would have been stuck out there. Because remember, they grounded all the airplanes for I don't know how many days. Was it close to a week or something? So that's our memory of, or at least my memory of 9/11, where I was and where I and stuff like that. That's back in the day when I was a real talk show host. Let's go to Mike on the northwest side. Hello, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
What can I do for you?
Well, I was just listening to you, and like I do every Saturday, and then the other people, and I recalled that the day that happened, I was visiting down south with my mom and family. Her family, actually, it was her cousin's husband that was flying that bomber back in 1948 that accidentally crashed into the Empire State Building. And I remember I was in the lobby trying to get some breakfast for my mom, watching the news, and when that first plane hit, that's the first thing that came to my head. Oh, this is a terrible, terrible accident. Then as I was standing there, I was glued to the TV, and I seen the second one, and I just felt, just crushed. And I went to my mom's room, and I just was crying and telling her that I think the end of the world is upon us. But I remember that was the experience that we had that day.
It's, it was hard to believe. I mean, in looking back at some of the, the security people that, they look at all the different possible scenarios, and crashing a plane was one of them, but, the odds of that happening were very low, and you can't prepare for everything, I guess, and, it took everybody by surprise.
Yeah, I remember seeing different news people talking and everything, and I always wondered whatever happened to some of them, that were right there on the spot talking and all. And I think it was one, I don't know if it was one of the cable guy people or whatever, and I never knew if he was part of the casualties that were happening on the ground too at the time or not. But it was pretty scary, pretty spooky, I guess, what was going on.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Take care.
Yeah, Rick Leventhal, who used to work in Chicago here, was one of the national correspondents, and if you watch some of the minute-by-minute coverage, yeah, you'll see him there and with his crew. And when the first tower came down and the big smoke cloud, when I say smoke cloud, it's smoke, but it was also the concrete dust was just covering people, and it was just like coming in, and they ran for see people running for cover, and they ran into their van, and you hear the audio, and they think they're going to die. They can't breathe. It's hard to breathe. But yeah, there's a lot of that. But when you watch the minute-by-minute coverage, I forget which channel it was, but I watched it the other day, and they have their eyewitnesses that are on the phone with them. They have the wide shot showing after the first plane hit the first tower, and they either had people who were in news or formerly in news, and they're talking about somebody said, they saw the first plane, but they said it was a small commuter plane. Well, that wasn't true. And then after the second plane hit, somebody said, that's a 737. It turned out now it was a big 757. Big difference. But one of the things I thought was kind of weird when the second plane hit, and it was a beautiful day. Remember, it was not a cloud in the sky. And after the second plane hit, one of the news people made the comment, gee, I wonder if there's a problem with air traffic control. As if a real pilot flying a real plane would just go by instruments and crash into a big tower like that just because the computer told them to. No, they would fly it and fly around it. So yeah, there was a problem. But you hear a lot of stuff like that where people just don't believe their eyes. Chuck in Crown Point.
Hey, how you doing? I think somebody should pay attention to what happened the day before 9/11. I was working for a major construction company at the time, and I was working in Evanston, and downtown Evanston at the post office, there was a lot of people that were lined up the day before trying to get their visas and their passports to get out of the country. And
from any specific country?
They were trying to leave the United States because at one time you could only get out, you could only get visas at certain post offices. Now you can get them at any post office. And when I got there, I started this job in March, and I would have to block off the street at 4:30 in the morning every day because people would park on both sides of the street because we rented the street. And that day, all of downtown Evanston was blocked. The police were aware of it. And I asked the Postmaster General, and he said that the people were actually illegal aliens, and they were trying to get out of the country. And they wanted to go, on a holiday. And, they were there the next day on 9/11 also standing in front of the post office. And he said that also happened in all the different post offices, like up in Michigan, where there's a big population of the people that were involved that day.
I saw on one of the shows I was watching the other night, they talked about, it was in New York, I think it was a college, and the professor, the teacher or whatever, it was a freshman writing class, and one of the students who was new to this country, because this was in the context of, it seemed like there were people in certain communities kind of heard about this or maybe knew about it or something was going to happen. Because he said this student looked out the window where the Twin Towers were and just made the comment, very shortly the skyline will be changed.
Well, the thing is that...
So it's like some people, I don't know if they knew or I don't know what was going on. I don't know how you explain it.
I think that they knew, and I think that they studied history, and they thought that we were probably going to intern them like we did the Japanese right after Pearl Harbor. And I think that was one of the things. Anyway, I just like to say that people, maybe they should see what they were doing the day before 9/11 and not 9/11.
All right, thank you, Chuck. 591-8900. Let's go to Steve and Dwight. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Jay. How are you today?
What's up?
Good. I first wanted to say my heart and prayers out there for all the ones that lost people on this day. And there's Americans out there that remember this day, and I appreciate you broadcasting and remembering this day, because it seems to me in the last 9 years they've been trying to cover it up, and it should be a calendar day, just like Labor Day and anything else. And people need to remember what happened. I'm a man that I don't like to dwell in the past. I like to learn about the history. And since that day, I've learned a great deal. You have to learn about your enemy when you go to war. You have to know what they're about. And the Muslims don't carry a flag. They make these mosques for a sign of victory. They don't have a country like we do. They hide in caves and holes. They're sneaky. That's why suicide bombers, they hide. They'll put bombs on donkeys and walk them into a field of people. They're sneaky that way. They go behind your back.
That's a percentage of the Muslims that are practicing the jihad.
Yeah. Even the lie to your infidel just to serve their purpose. I really believe this imam is in cahoots with bin Laden personally, because where did he come from? What is he about? Why does he want to do this?
You know what?
He's such a religion. Pardon me?
What bothered me about this imam the other day, he did an interview on, I think it was in Good Morning America, where he's talking about tolerance and, we have to be tolerant, but yet he doesn't seem to understand the feelings of the people that lost friends and relatives in 9/11. And he said that if for some reason they don't get to build the mosque there will be blood in the streets. Now, whether he's calling people to arms or he's just making the prediction or he's just being matter of fact about it, that's extortion.
Right. And people are trying to say this is against the Constitution, saying that they can't build it there. Personally, why don't we just have a Chinese flag over the White House? That's the purpose of a mosque being built. If you go back and look where other ones have been built, they defeated Christians. They build them right. They tear down the churches and they build them up. That's what they do. Sign of victory.
If there were no other mosques in New York City, but there are, I think there's about 100. If there weren't anything nearby, I think the closest one to there, I think, is 5 blocks away. Or if there were another place to put it, and they're offering them places to move it instead of having it there, I would say, okay, fine. If that's the only place they don't have in New York, okay, it's. But you know what? Why is he doing this?
Exactly. Where's his heart and compassion?
Yeah, he doesn't have much of it.
The proof's in the pudding.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
6:19. We got sports coming up. Then we'll get back to more of your calls right here on WOS.
Awake with Jake Hartford, 890 AM, WLS.
Want to move your career in the right direction? Purdue University offers weekend MBA programs for working professionals. This Saturday-only family-friendly program on the West Lafayette campus prepares managers to understand today's demanding business environment, complex organizations, and technology changes, all without interrupting your standard work week. Here's what Purdue Weekend MBA graduate Emilio has to say.
While learning my MBA at Purdue, I learned about effective management skills, understanding economic climates, and positioning a company to succeed in the ever-changing global economy. I encourage anyone who wants to take that next step in achieving their goals to come to Purdue to earn an MBA and become a part of the dream.
See why U.S. News and World Report recently ranked Purdue University's weekend MBA program among the top 20 in the nation. The next program begins in January. Applications are being accepted now. Call 877-MBA-KRAN or visit purdue.edu and search Weekend MBA. Move forward with Purdue University's Weekend MBA program.
The Home Depot has an incredible price of $3.98 on 16-ounce cans of Great Stuff insulating foam. It's a great way to fix drafts around the house. Seal those gaps around windows, plumbing, and electrical outlets. You won't just keep your energy in. You could help bring your energy bills down. We're lowering the cost of insulating your house with Great Stuff foam. Now $3.98. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. U.S. only. See store for details.
The Martha Stewart Show is packing up everything neatly. Every useful gardening tip, great pet keeping advice, All my distinctive home ideas, from entertaining to crafts. And it's all moving to a new home, Hallmark Channel. Ideas for holiday celebrations, essential wedding plans, even the studio audience. They're going to Hallmark Channel also.
The Martha Stewart Show. All new season premieres September 13th, weekdays at 10, only on Hallmark Channel.
Celebrate life's moments.
Geico has some bad news. There is no money tree, and there is no gold at the end of the rainbow. However, Geico could save you hundreds on your car insurance. No matter what the competition says, Geico has been saving people so much money. Over 4 million drivers switched last year. So call Geico for a free rate quote today. It's easier than trying to shake down a leprechaun.
For a free rate quote, visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. 15 minutes could save you hundreds on car insurance.
Somewhere in America, David Ortega is waiting at a busy airport. Kim Healy is waiting in traffic. And a whole country is waiting for a better way to travel. Siemens high-speed trains. They go 220 miles an hour with less carbon emissions. And we could build them right here. Fast answers bring people together. And the over 60,000 U.S. employees of Siemens have more answers every day. Siemens. Visit Siemens.com/answers.
And now for the bonus round. Pandora has a box. What does Fred have?
Change for a 20.
Correct. Cat got your tongue. Who's got your back?
Detective Flanagan.
Correct.
All right.
What's the newest way Netflix delivers movies?
That's easy. Instantly. Right to your TV.
Correct!
Yeah!
Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
The Home Depot now has a variety of vanity sets starting at just $49. Great quality for an even better value. That's a purchase that reflects not only your good taste, but your good sense as well. We've lowered the cost of renewing and redoing your bath thanks to stunning vanity sets starting at just $49. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Faucets sold separately while supplies last. U.S. only. See store for details.
Log on to WLSAM.com. Keyword deals to see what restaurants you can dine at for half price. Deals on demand, half price certificates, full priced experience.
The latest national news is just minutes away with ABC News updates at the top and bottom of every hour on 890 AM WLS. Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
.623. You know, we talk about how some other religions, they practice. Look at that woman the other day. They were going to stone in Iran. What they do, they bury the people up to their shoulders, and then they throw stones. They were going to do that the other day, and they stopped it. They postponed it, I think, for a week or two, and then I think they're just going to have a doubleheader next week, something like that. It's 6:24. Speaking of sports, I know, not a good segue.
White Sox! White Sox! Go, go, White Sox! Let's go, 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 White Sox!
Now, see, the bandwagon has stopped. Yeah, the bandwagon's gone. There we go. We'll stay on this bandwagon for another game or two. Let me tell you, my friends, Notre Dame plays Michigan today. The Fighting Irish take on those Wolverines. Pre-game with Chuck Kopik starts at 1 o'clock. 1:30 kickoff time right here on WLS. Your home for Notre Dame. It's also your home for Joe Rosansky with our sports. Good morning, Joe.
Oh, Nelly, it's going to be a big day today.
Well, it'll be a big one in college football. Yes, sir.
You bet. Good morning, Jake. Well, Notre Dame is playing host to Michigan today.
Ought to be a real good game. That's a big one.
Yes, and Notre Dame's actually favored.
Yep.
Favored by 4 points.
Won last week. Beat the spread.
Northwestern will be hosting. It's their homecoming. It's Illinois State at Northwestern.
All right, let's move on from there. Let's Sox won yesterday, but Minnesota won, right?
No, the Sox actually gained a game on Minnesota.
Really?
The Minnesota's magic number stayed at 17 when the White Sox got 3 eighth-inning runs and beat the Royals 4-3. A.J. Pierzynski has really been hot lately. Hit a go-ahead two-run double with 2 out in the 8th inning.
How many are they behind now?
5 games.
Oh, forget it.
But they ended their 3-game losing streak.
That was sad. Three out of 4 to Detroit.
Right.
Very
right.
sad. Very sad.
But Ozzie Guillen was ejected again for the 6th time because the Joe West umpiring crew called 2 more balks on Mark Buehrle. Now, Mark Buehrle leads the major leagues. He has over 120 pickoffs on the bases of other teams' players, and the Joe West umpiring crew, for whatever reason, thinks his move to pick off people is a balk. So they called 2 more balks on him last night, and when Ozzie came out of the dugout to complain after the second one, they tossed him. So that was the excitement over there.
You know what? It's all my fault. I must apologize.
What did you do now?
Well, if I had played Joe West's his CD, his country music CD, he wasn't going to call any balks on Buehrle. No, and I said, no, I'm not playing it. Sorry.
Oh. You know, if
Mercy.
the Sox lose by 1 game,
I know, it's my fault.
You're going to feel so bad.
All right, speaking of losers, Bears bandwagon starts tomorrow, although it's more of a circus clown car.
That's true. That's true. But, you know, the good news is Detroit has lost 20 straight road games going back to October of 2007, when, of course, they beat the Bears at Soldier Field. And the Bears are favored by 6.5.
If they don't win this tomorrow, you might as well just, I don't know.
Well,
I know what you just.
I've predicted that the Bears will win 5 games this year, and this has to be one of them. If they don't win today or tomorrow, it's going to be sad.
Now, the bright spot, how are the Yankees doing? How are my Yankees doing?
Let's talk about the Bears some more, Jake. The Yankees lost 6-5 to Texas. It took them 13 innings, and they lost.
But how many games over 500 are they?
Oh, boy.
30-some games, aren't they? Ah, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, I know how to jump from one bandwagon to another.
They're 33 games over 500.
Yeah, see, there you go.
They still have 87 wins. They're still a game and a half in front of Tampa Bay. So they're probably going to win the division, but they didn't win yesterday. They lost a game.
Well, I'm on that bandwagon now. Anything else, Joe, before I say goodbye?
Oh, sure. The Cubs beat the Brewers 4-0. It was Carlos Zambrano night. He went 3 for 4 with 1 RBI and a run scored. He pitched 3-hit ball into the 9th inning, and he won his 5th straight decision since being put back in the starting rotation.
A little crazy is good for you, I guess.
Before the game, the Milwaukee Brewers kind of have a thing against the Cubs. They put out a fake press release, and nobody's owning up to who actually did it, saying that the Cubs general manager Jim Hendry was coming out with a new book called How to Finish Near Last Place with the Highest Payroll in the League.
Say goodbye, Joe.
Didn't go over well. Take care, Jake.
Bye-bye. That's Joe Rosansky with the sports. Don't forget, 1 o'clock, Chet Kopic with the pregame. Notre Dame, Michigan today, following right up at 1:30. And that'll go until it ends, and then Chet would be back with the postgame. And then somewhere around 8:30, it's going to be Eddie and Jobo until 10 or so. Anyway, we'll get back to your calls. 591-8900, Awake with Jake, right here on the Notre Dame football station, WLS.
Hartford is on 890 AM WLS. Common sense spoken here. This is Chicago's 890 AM. Weather happens here. Get the latest forecast from the Weather Channel on 890 AM WLS. Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
.36, Awake with Jake. September 11th, 2010, 9th anniversary of 9/11. And we're getting your thoughts, your remembrances. And, there's been this controversy about when, they show the video from that day, the towers burning, whether they should show the bodies falling out. And I say yeah, because it really puts it into perspective about how bad things were. Think about this. You're up there in your office, and you got the fire going, and you're 100 stories above the ground. And to those people, it was better to jump and go to 100 floors down than stay in that building. I mean, think about what those people were going through, their last moments of life. And think of the firemen and the policemen responding as people are going out. They're going up into that building trying to save people. And one of the stories I heard was that there was a guy with a broken back on one of the floors, and they were waiting for help to get him out, which help never came. And there was a couple people going down, and one of them had been saved by the other guy. He was in rubble and was pulled out. And they're going out, and they came across this guy with the broken back. And with him was one of the security guards from the building. And they said, "Aren't you going to go? Things are bad." And he said, "No, I'm going to stay with this guy with the bad back until help comes." And it was shortly after that the whole building collapsed. I mean, there was a guy, didn't have to be there, but he stayed with them because that's what he did. Anyway, we're going to get right back to your calls, but first, let's hit Dr. Bob. Good morning, Doctor.
Hi, is Chet Kopic going to be live there in the studio today?
Actually, I'm glad you asked. Chet will be at Victory Chicago, which is up at 2610 North Halsted Avenue. If people want to stop by and see Chet, that's where he'll be doing the pregame show at 1 o'clock.
Hopefully he'll have his fur coat on, I hope. But
it's always, I got to tell you, seeing Chet work live is worth the trip. So if you want to see Chet today, 2610 North Halsted, the Victory Chicago. Now, I got to ask you about, where were you during 9/11, Dr. Bob?
Well, let me preface this with I went to medical school in New York, and one of my, I used to go to dinner there and Windows on the World every now and again. And I used to go down to the TKTS, or the half-price tickets booth there in the lobby, probably 2-3 times a month. So growing up, I was enchanted by the buildings, watching them go up and everything. I'm from a long ways away from New York City, but we got the New York City television stations where I'm from. Anyway, I used to look out the windows there. I'm scared of heights, and think about what happened if a window blew out and I got sucked out, blah blah blah. So hearing those bodies thump, people jumping out was a real thing to me. And on 9/11, I was up on the oncology floor in a hospital, and the nurse came running out and saying, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And one of the nurse managers, whose husband happened to be scheduled to give a presentation in the World Trade Center, one of the buildings, she and I ran into one of the rooms and looked on television. After a little bit, I went down to the doctor's lounge, and I'm watching it on TV down there. And one of the doctors turned to me and he said, "Could you do me a favor?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Could you pray for my son? He works on one of the top floors in that building." And as it turned out, the son was out of town on a trip that day, and when telephone communications were restored later that night, he called his dad to let him know he was okay. But people don't realize that 3,000 people died that day, but over 60,000 people work in that building complex. And they weren't trying to kill 3,000, they were trying to kill 60,000. And knock down the symbol of what is the United States of America to many people around the world. I mean, it's very, very symbolic what happened that day to people around the world. And I was down there in the doctor's lounge, and we were all shocked when we, as many people did, watch the second plane fly into the second building. And but I spent most. From there, I went up to the chapel in the hospital to pray for the people that were facing their death. And because, unlike many people, I been there, and you know, I felt a bond with the people that were there. A lot of the people I went to medical school with, their husbands and wives and such, worked in the building. And if you went to New York City for like the year after, New York was kind of like a zombie state, mourning state for over a year after the attacks. And virtually everyone knew someone or knew someone who had a relative die there. And it was... New York was in a state of shock for a year and a half, 2 years after that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Well, Dr. Bob, we're going to let you go then.
Okay, well, go blue. Okay.
Oh, we're going to cause trouble. Bye-bye, Dr. Bob.
Bye.
That's our Dr. Bob. Somber today. It's a somber day. Again, man, I don't even know if you're a rescue person. I don't even know where you begin with all the rubble that was down, and you're looking for trying to rescue people that are still alive, and you're stuck in that stuff. And man, I don't know where you begin with that. Again, you got to remember that the first responders who really went it, especially the ones that went into the building knowing they probably weren't coming out, because that's what they do. Rick in Rossville. Good morning, Rick. Welcome to WLS.
Hey, Jake. Usually, I'm joking around, but like you said, not today.
Well, I can give you one thing that I thought was kind of strange about 9/11, about the hijackers watching the shows, because they did a minute, but one of the specials was a minute by minute showing how all the hijackers came together and what they did, and they showed the video going through security and stuff. Two of them that called up for hookers the night before. They called up, and when they were told it was $400, they thought it was too much money, which I saw that on the special, and I'm like, what's going through their brain? They know they're dying the next day, and they're worried about money.
Well, there was a couple of them that knew what was going on. They're saying that some of the other hijackers didn't know what was going on, and it was like when they were up in the air and they realized what was going on, that it just caused some confusion, too. I mean, it was like a surprise to them. I think really the only ones who knew was Ada and maybe two others, and that was it, of what the real mission and purpose was.
Well, yeah, you had your separate pilot who was going to take over the controls of the plane. You had your, what they call the muscle people, who were going to, hijack the plane. And then you had, I think, another person that was kind of like, if something happened, they weren't tipping themselves off as being one of the hijackers. So in case, the crew or the passengers kind of rebelled, they'd be there to kind of stop it. So yeah, it was planned out very well.
Right. Well, anyway, my father-in-law, he worked for the state of Illinois at the time, and of course they put down or lockdown on everything, and he ended up coming home. It was like about 9:15 to 9:30 in the morning and all that. And of course, us living in a smaller town out here, later on, all of a sudden, people lining up at the gas stations because they didn't know what was going to be happening. But later on that evening, my wife and I, we were out just to get away from the TV and everything that was going on, and we're taking a ride out in the country. And, of course, all the planes were out of the air, but we noticed there was a plane going by at this incredible speed, and as it got closer, you could see that there were two others on the side of it. They ended up being fighter pilots on each side of the plane. And we figured, hey, that's Bush's plane, because he was up in the air throughout all this time. And it was just like an incredible sight to see, just these three planes, or this one big plane and two fighter pilots on each side of it just streaking across the sky. And it gives you goosebumps. So, and then the other thing about this mosque and all that, when they were showing the footage earlier in the week about all this turmoil going on with the Quran, the burning of the Quran, you've seen people out there, they were burning the American flags.
Well, I don't understand that. I saw that video Thursday from Afghanistan. They were burning American flags. They had signs made, written in perfect English. And I'm thinking, most of those people in Afghanistan can't read or write. They don't have electricity. And, there's people just stoking them up, telling them what's going on. I'm sure most of those people aren't on the Internet saying, gee, there's this guy in Florida that's going to do this. They're being stoked.
Well, the other thing is, too, is that, like with today, what's going on? How come Obama isn't in New York and Biden isn't in the Pentagon?
Biden was going to be at Ground Zero, and the president's going to be at the Pentagon.
Why isn't it reversed?
I don't know.
It just seems like Obama is distancing himself from today. And to me, I just look into it as him furthering his belief as being a Muslim. He's a Muslim first.
Well, you know what? I don't know what he is, but when you look at his actions of supporting the mosque, but this and that, and people question it, then he kind of looks at you like, why are you questioning it? Well, you look at some of his statements.
Right, exactly. And by the way, on a lighter note, the Tampa Bay is going to overtake New York, and your sports guy, he's got to get a little better personality. I mean, his personality is about as pleasant as a paper bag.
You see, that's done on purpose because that makes me look better.
Okay.
Because I have no personality, but next to him, I look like I do.
You're a funny guy, Jake.
See you, Rick.
All right, bye-bye.
Back to more of your calls right after this in WLS.
You're listening to Jake Hartford, 890 AM WLS.
Have you been feeling tired and run down? This is Cisco Cotto. I've been drinking Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate, and I feel great. I mix a little Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate in a pitcher with some water, keep it in the fridge so it's nice and cold, and it's wonderful. The secret is in the antioxidant power of tart cherries. Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate is loaded with antioxidants and anthocyanins. And did you know tart cherries are the only fruit known to contain melatonin? That helps you sleep better, and with a good night's sleep comes increased energy. Why not give Nature Blessed a try? It works, it's real, it's natural, and it's proudly locally grown. I love this stuff. To learn more, go to WLSAM.com, enter keyword cherry, and on your way home tonight, pick up your own. Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate. It's available at Jewel Osco in the refrigerated juice aisle. Also, Strack and Van Til, Ultra Foods, Shop and Save, and many other quality retailers. Take it from me, drink the best. Drink Nature Blessed.
Hear that? That's the sound of recovery, of small businesses beginning to grow again. And at Chase, we're doing our part to help. We've committed $10 billion to small business lending. We're making loans more affordable with our lowest rates in years. And now we've designed the only loan that actually rewards you for hiring employees. Introducing the Loan for Hire only from Chase. Hire a new employee, get a lower rate. When your small business is approved for a new loan, you get an immediate half-point rate discount for each new employee you hire, up to 3 employees. And if your business checking is also with Chase, you'll get another half point on top of that. That's as much as 2% off our lowest rates in years, which could save you thousands of dollars. It's the Loan for Hire only from Chase. The only loan designed to reward you for growing your business. Visit a branch or go to chase.com/loan-for-hire for details. Chase, what matters.
Some restrictions, requirements, and fees may apply. Offer expires 12/31/2010. All lines of credit are subject to approval. Not valid in combination with any other lending offer. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Equal opportunity lender.
Now that the kids are back to school, it's time to get your car back to new. If you ever get in an accident, you'll be glad to know that the exclusive Gerber Collision and Glass Financing Program can help you with your insurance deductible and repair costs completely interest-free. And with their 100% satisfaction guarantee, you know your car will be fixed right the first time. Gerber Collision and Glass works with most major insurance companies, so tell them you want to go to Gerber. For a host of money-saving coupons, all the finance details, and a list of store locations, log on to GerberOffers.com or call 877-7-GERBER today.
You want to make more money? Be your own boss. Own your own business. Then don't miss the Franchise and Business Opportunities Expo this weekend at the Schaumburg Convention Center. Discover full and part-time business opportunities and talk with owners of money-making franchises who can help you open a successful business. Plus, get advice at free seminars all weekend. For more info, visit ChicagoFranchiseShow.com. Don't miss Chicago's only Franchise and Business Opportunities Expo this Saturday and Sunday at the Schaumburg Convention Center.
The Home Depot has an incredible price of $3.98 on 16-ounce cans of Great Stuff insulating foam. It's a great way to fix drafts around the house. Seal those gaps around windows, plumbing, and electrical outlets. You won't just keep your energy in. You could help bring your energy bills down. We're lowering the cost of insulating your house with Great Stuff foam. Now $3.98. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. U.S. only. See store for details.
The Martha Stewart Show is packing up everything neatly. Every useful gardening tip, great pet keeping advice, all my distinctive home ideas from entertaining to crafts. And it's all moving to a new home, Hallmark Channel. Ideas for holiday celebrations, essential wedding plans, even the studio audience. They're going to Hallmark Channel also.
The Martha Stewart Show. All new season premieres September 13th, weekdays at 10, only on Hallmark Channel.
Celebrate life's moments.
Learn to avoid having a financial repeat of 2008. Listen to Securing Your Financial Future with the Goldstone Financial Group. Sunday mornings at 8.
Find out what's happening in the nation and around the world with ABC News updates at the top and bottom of every hour on 890 AM WLS. This is Jake Hartford on 890 AM WLS.
Our heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America.
See, that's what our enemies don't get. Only in a country like America could a show like this be on the air, albeit from 5 a.m. until 7 a.m. Didn't say America was perfect. Let's go to Tom on the Northwest Side. Tom, you're on WLS.
Yes, Jake. I just thought the last 50 minutes of your program just points out the fact how ignorant the American people really are and how they've been deceived.
Ignorant in what way, Tom?
Ignorant every way, Jake, and you know what I'm talking about. The idea that even the victims and their lost family members trying to get the truth, and they were blocked at every turn.
Are you one of those truth seekers, Tom?
Oh, you better believe it.
You believe?
buddy.
You believe?
All
do you
your
believe?
nonsense of
Hey, Tom.
Media
Tom.
lie to us.
Tom, do you believe it was a planned demolition of the towers?
Absolutely. Building 7 wasn't even hit by any plane.
Do
that
you?
was brought down.
So the engineer we had on today, that means nothing to you.
Absolutely, because.
And you believe? Do you believe?
Do
Do you believe Flight 93 actually crashed in Cleveland?
You know what I believe? I believe that the major media tries to demonize anybody that tries to really investigate what happened.
You mean like I'm about to do right now? Goodbye. You're a nut. Today's not the day for this. People, you want to see the conspiracies? This afternoon on History Channel, there's a 2-hour special where they go through all the different conspiracy theories, including the fact that they plane United 93 crashed in Cleveland and it didn't. You can watch it because it was, and it's based on a Popular Mechanics magazine back in 2005. They went through everything scientifically, got all the experts together and went one by one through all that stuff. So you want to see what Tom's talking about? Tune that in and watch. Greg in Schaumburg. Hello, Greg.
Wow, that just kind of took the whole thing out of my... Anyway, my memory is the next morning. Don, and as you have done beautifully this morning, you wonder what the opening radio show of the day is going to do in terms of setting the tone for the, in our case, the whole city. And Don and Roma is that show to me. And I wondered what they would do. And at that time, they were playing the theme from The Sopranos as their opener. And they came on with Ray Charles exactly as you did, and you're going into this segment. And it just gutted you. You know, you just laid there, you know, if you were in bed or whatever. And it just, to me, it was, you know, first of all, perfect selection because it was just flat out perfect, but it just made you want to cry. You know, just, what can you do?
And when I hear callers like the last one, the whole conspiracy, and you think about everything that would have to be done and done beyond perfect to do what's been suggested, and knowing the way everything runs in our government, there's no way in God's green earth that happened. Especially when the people say the actual planes didn't hit the building. It was a demolition.
And the point of 9/11 is that man is depraved, and unless man has a belief in an accountability toward a God, you're going to have that depravity coming out. And in our world, any single person can cause just massive grief to humanity. And we have to be on guard.
And they keep coming.
Yep.
And they're really out there. And for people to think we did it to ourselves, maybe we did do it to ourselves because we have a free country where people could say whatever they want, except Tom right now in my show this morning, because I thought that was out of line. But I have the freedom to say goodbye to him.
Well, yeah, the freedom, but the thing is that the tone of the callers, other than he, is on a totally different track, and that's what is important.
Well, I have to go now, Greg.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We are done. I wish we had more time because a lot of you are on the phones. The phones are... So many people are calling. They're lit up like a Christmas tree. That they're ringing so hard they're practically levitating, as they say. I have to go. Paul Bryan coming up with Drive Chicago at 8 o'clock. At noontime, it's Bruce Wolf, Dan Proft until 1 o'clock. Chuck Kopic with the pregame show, Notre Dame, Michigan today. If you want to see him, go down to Victory Chicago, 2610 North Halsted Street. And then the game at 1:30, and after the game and the post-game with Chad again, it'll be Eddie and Joe Boa. Remember 9/11, folks. Bye-bye.